Hi fans, it's MichelleJoyPhelps, and I'm joined now via Zoom with Ruqsana Begum. Ruqsana, it's nice to meet you. It's this is the first time we've spoke.
Mm-hmm.
Follow each
Yes,
other on social media, but it's the first time we've spoke. How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting times, as I keep saying, but you know,
Mm.
I'm starting to see some really positive direction into where things are going right now. So
Mm.
can't complain whatsoever. Just sort of winging it. It's different doing interviews via Zoom than
Yeah.
like in person. You sort of get like that. I don't know. It's just different. It's been a little
Different energy.
challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's I guess the world is changing and you kind of have to adapt with it. Yeah, interesting times.
Well, for people who are seeing you for the first time, just a little information on Ruqsana that you are now a professional boxer, but was
That's
once
right.
also competing in kickboxing.
That's right.
You just signed a 3-year deal with my friend Sam for S Jam Boxing to manage you, and you're also currently signed to Haymaker Promotions. So just talk a bit about, first and foremost, I was reading that your inspirations were always Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali, but I often get asked all the time, like, well, what inspired boxing for you? So I'm going to ask you the same. What inspired your passion for combat sports?
I think I've always loved sports growing up. That was one of my passions. And I was fascinated by, Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali. And I joined the gym and I completely fell in love with it. It was my first love. And I guess the fact that it makes you so present and it takes you away from all the negative outputs in life, that's what I fell in love with initially. And of course, then you have um, added skills that you're developing and focus and mental strength and being able to discipline your mind, your body, and all of those things just shaped me, and I fell in love with the fact that it grew me as a person, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and it's played a big part in my life. It's given me so much. It's given me hope. It's given me a second lifeline, and I absolutely love it. I'm so blessed that I get to follow my passion. And I love boxing. Yes, Sam and Adam signed me. I'm no longer with them, but I'm so grateful for the opportunity. No, but we had a good couple of years, and I'm looking for a new challenge at the moment.
Okay. So
Yeah.
one of the things that really stood out to me was the fact that you felt that at one point you had to keep the training from your family, and I believe that was because due to just growing up in a conservative family, it isn't very
Absolutely.
common, especially like, I don't know, even when I was young, I know that it was very taboo to hear about a woman wanting to join sports, let alone
Yeah.
combat sports. So what was that like, sort of having that coming out experience with your family and sort of revealing to them that, hey, look, by the way, I've been doing this for years and I just want you guys to share in
it? In all honesty, I felt like I was living a double life. I was going to university, keeping my head down, being the best daughter I could be. I was just a good student and good daughter. And my only passion was, sport. I loved it so much that I would behave myself throughout the whole week. So I could do 2 hours training on a Sunday religiously, and I was compromised with going out with my friends, doing anything else, only because I just wanted that meant so much to me. And my parents never knew. I would tell them I'm going for a run or a jog, and eventually I realized I was living a lie, in a sense, like a double life. And I went through a personal problem. I went through an arranged marriage, and I was going through depression. And at that point, I decided to bring my parents to the gym. I still didn't tell them where I'm taking them, but I plucked up the courage to say to them, this is where I need to heal. This is where I need to recover. I don't want to be on antidepressants anymore. That's not who I am. I felt that, you know, I'm stronger than that and I'm better than that. So I went to the one place I felt at home and familiar with, and, you know, introduced my parents to the gym and my coach. And I think they felt really reassured that I was in a safe environment. And they turned a blind eye. They didn't say yes, they didn't say no. They just stepped back, and I think they just wanted their daughter back. And I feel as though that was like a blessing in disguise for me, because if it hadn't been for the breakdown that I was going through, I don't think my parents would have been as supportive of me going to a combat sport, male dominated, especially in the 90s, you know, early 20s, and be supportive. Whereas now, I think over the years, they've realized that I haven't compromised on my values and my beliefs, and that it's encouraged them to be more open and understanding with what's gone on with my personal life and professional life.
Mhm. It sounds like to me your parents cared more about you being healthy, and if that was
Yeah,
the way for you sort of finding yourself again, or maybe even relieving
absolutely.
anxiety and stress, um,
Yeah,
I could see where they probably were like, whatever it takes, just do it.
that's, yeah, I think it was an eye opener, because I think my GP had a word. So my doctor took my parents aside and said she needs something. She needs something to focus on. And I think at that point they didn't care about cultural and traditional kind of expectations. They just thought to themselves, which I really kind of have so much respect for my parents for doing that. They just said,
Yeah.
we just want her back and back to herself. And they gave me that space to recreate my identity. And it took a few years, but I managed to use sport to kind of build my confidence, build my identity. And it saved my life in a way. So
At what point did it go from with your parents and having this conversation, hey, I'm doing this for my mental health, but now I'm doing this professionally? How did they sort of react to, because I know that you went to school to become an architect. So
that's
I could
right.
imagine they're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
what? Like, what do you mean you want to do this professionally? So how did that go about?
So, yes, because I already graduated from university and I worked for 2 years, and then the recession started. And at that point, that's when I was going through my divorce and the breakdown. And this is when they felt like, okay, I had nothing else, you know, at that point. My health was deteriorating. And I started training as a passion again. And from the passion, within a year, I got selected for Team GB. And I think they just kind of took a step back and thought, well, she's not doing anything bad. They were already used to me going to the gym, you know, very frequently. Like every evening, I'd be at the gym. Every morning, I'd be at the gym. I just wanted to be productive instead of feeling sorry for myself being at home. I wanted to just, I dived into the sport, and where they didn't say no, I took that as silent consent, and I thought, okay, they're not saying no, they're just letting me get on with it. So, and when I revealed to them, okay, I need to go to Thailand now and train for a month, they didn't say anything. So I was incredibly nervous, because I thought, what if they say no in the last minute? But they didn't. And I think that gave me more and more confidence to kind of progress into the sport.
So when we're talking about like, mental health, do you feel that a big part of, when you said you had the breakdown, do you feel a big part of pressure, because as a woman, and we as women have different types of pressures, and until you're in a very male dominant industry, and have a sort of expectation, I don't think anybody can quite relate. And I think that's sort of like the unique
Yeah.
bond that we women share in the industry. Because you don't understand it until you're there. Do you feel that a big part of that breakdown, as you say, was like having to lie about what you're passionate about, having to live up to this expectation culturally of what you should be doing, and also
Yeah.
the pressure of feeling like you might be letting your family down? Did all of that play a factor?
then I had like a storm going on in my head every single day for those 5 years, and even afterwards, because even though I had my parents who were supportive, I had that inner battle that, am I doing something wrong? Am I going against my religion? Am I going against my values? You know, am I letting my parents down? Who am I? And there's so many thoughts that went through my head, because, you know, can I make a living out of this? Why am I, even having debates with my brothers, because they felt that you've studied architecture, you're working in a firm, and now you're going from working in a, you know, top firm into a sport that doesn't actually support you, you know, financially or in any way. But it made me happy. It gave me life skills, and it gave me values. It taught me so much that I don't think I would have learned as quick in a different environment. It shaped and it molded me. It made me grind and work hard. I knew I was good at the sport, but it made me realize just being good isn't enough. You have to make sacrifices. You have to constantly be resilient and work through the pain, the pressure, and it helped me grow as a person. So I have so much to kind of, you know, give back to the sport in that sense.
Do you have other women who approach you who are in similar positions that you once were in, where they find themselves sort of in this limbo of not really knowing how to say, look, I don't want to be what you expect of me to be. I want to be myself. I want to follow my passion, even if that goes against everything that I guess you're raised to be. Do you find that other women are approaching you or asking you for advice on, and if so, what do you tell them?
I think definitely, you know, when I look around, especially in my community, people are still, you know, trying to get the balancing act right between being British, being Muslim, being Asian, being traditional, being a good daughter. There's so many expectations, you know, what the norm is, and then being able to pursue a sport and being successful, or, you know, just being happy, that mental health aspect. And I guess my advice is always to kind of do what you're passionate about, but find a way to bridge the gap between all of those, you know, aspects of your life, because you're not one thing, you're many things. You know, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a auntie, I'm a, you know, boxer, I'm a former kickboxer, I'm a coach. There's so many parts of you, and you need to be able to respect that and communicate. And it took me many years to be able to find that balance, because I always thought you have to be one or the other, and now I've realized, no, you could wear different hats, but it's being respectful, being courteous, and just being, you know, just bringing in that human aspect to it, and not judging people. And it takes time. People will always listen to you and give you the time of day if you can actually express yourself. And that took some time, but I got there in the end. So yeah, because my family means so much to me, you know, I didn't want to ever lose them or upset them over choosing something that I felt that was part of who I am and who I want to become. So both things were important to me, and yeah, it's an ongoing conversation. You don't have to be a rebel, you don't have to be, it's actually, sport brings you back to who you know, teaches you so much about living in unity and compromising and sacrificing. These are all aspects of maturity, and throughout the sport you need that. You need to be able to adapt to situations. It's never the circumstance, it's how you react to it.
One of the things I love was that you created a hijab so that you can actually work out and train in it, which would encourage other women to do the same, to whether that be, again, professionally or not professionally, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like you said, it's just a really great outlet for you to sort of blow off steam, or just have, I don't know. I can relate to that because although I don't do it professionally, if I don't have some sort of like outlet, like with exercise, I go crazy. I have anxiety, I have panic attacks, I overanalyze everything. I'm just like that person. So I completely get it. But I love that you did that. Do you want to talk a bit about
Absolutely. I was inspired. I remember after the 2012 Olympics, I remember like this was the first year where women's boxing was introduced to the Olympics. Saudi Arabia was competing in the Olympics, and I just felt that there was no sports hijab for, just the average person who wants to go to the gym, or a mother who wants to just go for a jog, school, young girls doing PE. And, Nike, I remember, designed it with one-off piece for one of the athletes. And even then, they were debating whether it met the health and safety requirements. So I was just inspired by that. And I felt that it should be available for everyone. And fitness should meet faith. There shouldn't be a compromise in that. And that's something that resonated very strongly with me because of the battle that I had going into a male-dominated sport, where actually I want to reassure my parents that, yes, you can conduct yourself appropriately. You don't have to, compromise on your faith. You can wear a hijab if you want to. You can dress appropriately. And I wanted to create that avenue for Muslim women to be able to have one less, stress, and they could still train, still compete, whether it's professionally or as a hobby or a passion. That opportunity and door was open for them. So I created that and, did really well. And I think now we've got so many other brands that have created hijabs. And, it's fantastic that we see so many more Muslim women actually taking up sport and, wearing the full hijab.
What is the ultimate goal for you? What would you like to see yourself achieve in the sport of boxing?
I guess, I know this is going to sound insane because people are, you're 36 and you're a woman and you've already done one sport. But I remember when I became a British champion and my coach said to me, well, you've become a champion and you can retire. And I said, no, but if I become a British champion, what's stopping me from becoming a European champion? And then I thought, well, if I can become a European champion, what's stopping me from becoming a world champion? And I achieved those goals. And each day, it's just one step at a time, and I managed to get there because I believed in myself. And I feel the same with boxing. This was a new mountain for me to climb, stimulated mentally for me, and it's given me a different lifeline. I feel like I can make a huge difference in boxing, in the world, being able to conquer another sport. So I feel so passionate. The ultimate goal will be to become a world champion in boxing. I've only been in boxing for like a year and a half, maybe a little bit longer, but I'm persevering through the challenge, and that would be my ultimate goal. And I never say never. I'm just going to keep going, and hopefully.
So let's talk a bit about, I read the preface to your book that you're writing, and that's coming out in June
25th.
Okay, June 25th.
It's already a pre-order on Amazon, but it'll be available at Waterstones from the 25th.
Okay. So when I was reading that, one of the things that really resonated, and I think anyone who's sort of stepping outside of their comfort zone can relate to this. It's so terrifying because you almost have this sense of, I don't belong here. I shouldn't be here. What am I doing? You doubt yourself. And I read in your preface that when you arrived in Las Vegas to train, you were sort of like, what am I doing? I've spent, all my savings on this. And there was a bit of resistance there. Talk about that that move for you, because it is scary to take yourself away from family, to take yourself away from everything that you're pretty much accustomed to follow something that you have no clue where it's going to lead you.
Absolutely. It was incredibly scary. And I guess I took a leap of faith, and I thought to myself, I've already come this far. I can't look backwards anymore. And every day I was improving, and I was thinking, okay, I'm getting one step closer to my goal. And I remember Salas, my coach at the time, when I went and saw him, he said, baby, nothing happens by accident. You are meant to be here. But it was, incredibly testing time for me, especially being by myself, being a woman in a male-dominated world, in a foreign country to me at the time. I didn't have managers. I was just by myself. But I believed in my goal, and I believed in myself. And I felt that if I can do this, imagine how many people I can inspire. Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
That's okay. I get it.
So I think, I look back and I still can't believe I did that. That was me.
And your family, I'd imagine, I mean, even if they're not so vocal about it, like you said, it's like there was that sort of like pat on the back. Do you know what I mean? Like that they knew where you were going. It was new to them too, I'd imagine. It's a whole new thing for them as well. But see you do it, see you achieve something from it. I can imagine how proud they are of you.
I think they felt really proud because they realized that everything that I set my mind to, I was able to achieve. I was dyslexic at university, and I managed to attain a degree, and then I started working in the field, and then I set my sights on becoming a champion in kickboxing, and I managed to do that. And I think they just left me to it. They trusted me and they believed in me. But I never shared these kind of emotions with them or with anyone, because I didn't want to burden anyone with what I was going through internally. So I just held it together.
But then, one of the things that I've learned even for myself and from other people that I know personally who have battled mental health, everyone sort of has the same thing. They're all afraid to talk. They're all afraid to say, I didn't want to burden you. I didn't want to bother you. I didn't want to make you think like, a lot of people often feel that they're like, I'm not trying to ask for attention. It's not that. It's just that if you don't have an outlet, even just an ear, it can cause so much damage in the long run because of you're not meant to sort of harbor all of that inside.
Absolutely. I think my biggest challenge was when I was sharing my kind of thoughts and what I wanted to achieve, because people around me could see how much I was hurting in the process and how challenging the environment was. Most people would say, give up. And that's something that went against my values, my core values. I'm not someone who believes in quitting. If I felt that it was the right move for me, then fair enough.
Right.
That's a new chapter of my life. But if it was negativity coming in, I would have to then push it back out and then rely on myself to have that self-talk and positive affirmations that actually I can do this. And there's always been some sort of hope, like, the words Salah said to me, or that, that day when I landed in Las Vegas and I had those thoughts and I was almost in, tears. The next morning I woke up and I remember watching the morning TV, and Michelle Obama was on it. And she was talking about how she felt when she was in Princeton. And I resonated so well with her at that moment. And that gave me hope. That gave me hope that these are the defining moments of your life. And you can either embrace that, or you can say it's too hard, it's uncomfortable, and I'm going to go home. And I chose to embrace it. And here I am. And I'm still going to keep moving forward.
You're also an instructor, and you are a part of numerous charities, where you're giving back, you're helping other people who are either in similar positions or just people who never really had a sort of platform to help them grow to the next level, like as whether they wanted to be professional athletes or not. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
I guess it goes back to when I became when I was training. One of the things that I was struggling with was there was no female instructors. Okay. And I knew my life would have been so much easier to explain to my parents had there been a female boxing instructor or a Thai boxing instructor. They would have felt more comfortable. So I remember going to a course and qualifying myself as a Thai boxing, and a personal trainer. And I'm currently doing a nutrition course because I feel like self-improvement is so important to keep your mind sharp, keep yourself stimulated, be aware of what is important in your life and how you can contribute to society. And this is one of the things that I felt so passionate about, to create a women's only class for the community, for Muslim women, for women in general who wanted to feel safe and not train with guys who are testosterone driven, feel intimidated in the environment. They needed a place where they can build their confidence. And I have people from all walks of life who join that class, who are journalists or doctors, who are, young girls from the, just from the community. So it's a really nice, inclusive environment. And that's so important to me, to create those kind of unity and diversity within, sport.
Mm-hmm. So we know that boxing's sort of taken, actually sport in general has all taken a pause at the moment, but we are hearing some pretty good news that we're looking like we're going to be getting back. You know what I mean? Slowly but surely. Yes. Unfortunately, we won't have crowds for a while, but starting somewhere is great, because then they're going to figure this out. And hopefully by the end of this year, we should have maybe even just smaller crowds, but crowds nonetheless. Mm-hmm. What can we expect of you? Like, what I understand that right now during lockdown is very limiting. It's not like gyms are open. You can just kind of walk in and get the work done. But what are you doing currently to sort of keep yourself prepared? And also, when do you anticipate that you might be fighting again next?
So I'm still obviously training, like going for my run, doing my cardio. I've used this time to work for me, and I've realized I've come into boxing from a different sport, and boxing is a completely different sport. There's a different rhythm, there's a different speed and psychology. And I've realized I need to go back to basics. Yes, there's transferable skills such as willpower, being disciplined, being focused, being a fighter. I know how to fight. But now it's the time for me to work on my footwork, to work on my strategy, to understand the psychology of boxing. And I'm really, really enjoying it because there's no pressure, but I'm taking this time to enhance my skills. And I'm realizing actually I do belong in the ring, because I'm picking up things really quickly. I'm so excited to be back in the ring. I'm speaking to a couple of promoters at the moment, so it's really exciting times for me. So we're looking at hopefully July, possibly. So I don't want to say too much because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to, but it'll be amazing. It'll be incredible to be back in a big arena. So yeah.
I know, I can't wait either. You find yourself looking back and you're like, oh, all those times I was complaining because I was, it was too packed or it was too this. It was like, you look back and you're like, you should never have complained about those things, because now you just appreciate it differently, don't you?
Very true. Like, we have a tendency to try and live in the past or to live in the future, and you forget to live in the present and really embrace this time, because this is all we have. And really, you need to use this time to prepare for the future and really cut the past and leave it where it is, because you tend to regret, oh, I should have done this, or I should have fought on this show. And then you kind of go into a vicious circle, and it's self-harming yourself. So yeah, again, that mental positive attitude, it's all about being your own best friend and giving yourself that care and love and forgiving yourself and saying, actually, no, everything is how it's meant to be. I needed to learn a lesson from this experience. There's so many times you have to fail in order to learn something greater through your failures rather than through your success. And once the penny drops, it's like a different world. And I think that's going to be the case with me in boxing, because I've made such big improvements now. And I'm, really excited to see what I can now achieve in boxing, because mentally I'm in a different place. Physically, I'm in a different place because I've learned to love my body. And because again, that's another thing that people don't understand, especially being a boxer, you're constantly dieting and watching your weight at the same time having to perform at a peak level. And it can be really mentally draining to be on the scales every morning and then having to run and then having to run in the evening. You can't really socialize with friends or family. And it's not just a one-day thing, it's part of your lifestyle. It takes a lot of kind of willpower to be in that state at all times.
Well, I have respect for you guys, period. There's no way I could do what you guys do. There's no way. I can barely count calories, let alone like have to get on the scale every day and then go run off what I just ate. So much respect for you athletes for doing what you do. Before we go, I just want to say I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
And hopefully I will be able to see you in person sometime soon in the future, and we'll be able to do proper interviews.
Oh my God,
just, over the phone or over the laptop. So any final words? Do you have anything you want to say?
Please, enjoy my book. It's out on the 25th. I'd love to get your thoughts and hopefully be inspired.
What is it called, your book?
Born Fighter is on Amazon at the moment, and there will be an audio book too, which I'll be recording myself. Hopefully I'm not going to cry throughout the recording, but I'm really grateful for the opportunities and the blessings I've had and the support that people have shown me in my life. Every obstacle presents an opportunity, and just bearing that in mind. And, I look forward to hearing your thoughts, and I appreciate your time, and thank you so much for, doing this talk and interview with me.
Well, no, thank you for taking the time out to do it. I know it took us a little while, but we got here. And again, like I said, I hope to see you in the near future. And based on just your attitude and your approach to life, there's no doubt in my mind that whatever it is that you decide to do, that you're going to be very successful at it. So when the day comes, whatever it is that your goals are, clapping.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I look forward to meeting you in person. I should be in Vegas as soon as this lockdown is over. I will be in Vegas talking to possibly a promoter and also training back with Salas Ismail, who I'm really looking forward to training with. He's an incredible coach, and I think the difference is that when you have someone who's spiritual, they lift something else in you, and I think that's what I love so much. I'm really looking forward to being back in Vegas.
If you're ever in Vegas and I'm around, I'll definitely let you know.
Brilliant.
It really depends on what's going to be happening and going on and whatnot, but we'll keep in touch, and have a good rest of the evening over there.
Thank you.
Just starting my day here. So, but I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Bye-bye. Bye, fans.
Bye. Bye, everyone.